sure you could tell from the title of this video, this is a little bit of a health update. So, I have a couple of like on the mic triggers around me. Like I have like a brush and like a sponge and stuff, so thought that we could do some like mic triggers while I give you all an update. So so where do we start? Long story short, I have to have surgery in either this coming week or next week. I don't know for sure yet because it hasn't been scheduled yet. But I know that it does have to happen like as soon as possible, to avoid me getting worse. So a few weeks ago, I went to the doctor, just for like my normal, well, I guess they call it like a well woman visit now, but I'm gonna go ahead and preface this with like very much like trigger warning. Like if you don't want to hear about like periods and like bodies and things like that, this is probably not the video for you, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine. But it is a video that I wanted to make because after this video, I don't know when I will feel okay enough to film another video. So I did just film another one that will probably go up next week, just in case my surgery is to happen this coming week. That way I already had a video ready if need be. But anyways, but yeah, we're gonna be talking about periods and stuff like that. So if that's not something that you want to hear, that's totally fine. People have periods. It is what it is. But anyways, so I went in for what they call a well woman visit and like the pap smear and all of that. I essentially wanted to see about getting back on birth control because I stopped using birth control back in like, well, I say stopped using birth control. I stopped taking birth control pills back in like 2018, I think. I'm gonna be honest, life got very busy and very expensive, and I really couldn't afford it anymore, and that's fine. But so yeah, I stopped it back then, and as you all know, like I had my miscarriage back in 2020. I've always had kind of like heavier periods, like my cramps and stuff are always really bad, like as long as I can remember. So, and like my birth control at the time wasn't really helping that. If anything, it was kind of making it worse. So I stopped that. And so I set up this appointment to essentially get back on it because I know like higher doses of hormones and stuff can help, like if you have periods like mine. So like I went in and did all of that. They did the pap smear and everything, and she put me back on birth control. Cool, awesome. From what she said, everything looked fine, but of course, like, you don't know what your cells are doing until like it actually gets tested. So she was like, you know, you'll hear from us in like a week, like whether it's good or bad, whatever. I was like, all right, cool. So I think it was like 4 days maybe, because I went in on like, well, I think my appointment was on like a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and I guess they called me on Monday, so like almost a week, I guess. And they said that results over the phone. They said that I needed to set up an appointment with the actual, like, gyno, like OBGYN. And so I said, okay. And so we set that up. Well, first of all, the one office called me, and said something about setting up an appointment. And I was like, well, I was supposed to just get my results. Like, is something going on? And they were like, well, we can't tell you over the phone because we're not who did the, did the PAP and everything. So I called to the other clinic that because it's, okay. So the way it works is it's a clinic that has like 3 different, like locations, but it's all the same clinic essentially. So I called them and they said, well, there were some abnormalities on your PAP that they need to check out. And I said, okay. So I set up that appointment. My mom and dad both ended up taking me because they said that I was going to have a colposcopy done. For those of you that don't know what a colposcopy is, it is essentially, it's kind of like a PAP, but different. They open you up like a PAP and everything, but they go in and they take samples of cells in your cervix to test for cervical cancer. So I had to set that up and everything. So we did that a couple weeks, well, it's been 2 weeks now since I did that. And they essentially told me, we'll call you, or no, they said to call in 2 weeks to get my results. And I said, okay, cool. Colposcopy is not fun, for those of you that have not had to experience that. For those of you that have not had to experience that, be grateful. It wasn't nearly as bad as the endometrial biopsy that I had to do in 2020. For that, they go in and they literally like cut a chunk of your cervix out to test, and that was awful. And of course, like, you don't get any type of medication, you don't get anything like pain-wise, nothing. So we did the colposcopy. She took 4 samples from different areas of my cervix and sent that off to be tested. And so from like where I'm at to so the normal clinic that I go to is like maybe 12, maybe 15 minutes away. Like, it's not very far, it's literally the next town over. It's like 15 minutes. But that clinic is an hour away from me. So she was like, you can just call in 2 weeks and we'll give you the results unless it's something that we need to like further go into or whatever. And I was like, okay, cool. So we do all of that. A like week and a half goes by. Well, it was a week and like 2 days because they called me not that next week, but the week after on Tuesday. So it was like 4 days before I was supposed to call and get my results. They called me. Said that I needed to come in ASAP for my results and to go over a plan of action. So essentially, something was found, but I didn't know what was found yet. So I'm gonna try so hard not to like get emotional in this because I've been freaking out for the last when did I have that appointment? I went on Wednesday and it's Saturday now. So yeah, for like 4 days. But so they tell me that I need to be there as soon as possible to do all of that. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm like, I can't be there today, but like I can take off work and come tomorrow. And they're like, okay, cool. Like, be here at 11. So my mom and dad take me again. My mom works for a school, like a church school here, and she wasn't, so backtracking for a second, they told me that I needed to come in that Thursday to have the colposcopy done, and then we find out that was just to go over like what the colposcopy even is, and they would have to schedule it. And I was like, listen, like, I live an hour away, I didn't drive myself, and I'm not going to be able to drive myself for this appointment. Like, if I need to have it done, like, we need to have it done in the next like day or two. Friday, and just my dad took me because my mom she had something to do with the school, which is fine. So my dad took me to the colposcopy and then brought me back home. And so my mom and dad both came to my results appointment because my mom wanted to be back in the room with me when they gave me my results, which is fine. My parents both are listed on all of my stuff, to know like any of my medical stuff, obviously. And so my mom came back there with me, and the main sample that they took was okay, but the other 3 samples that they took were high-grade precancerous cells. So not cervical cancer yet, but like literally on the brink of being that. She kind of went over all of that with me and my mom. They told me that I have to have surgery as soon as possible to remove the cells that are infected, so that it doesn't become cervical cancer. So I am currently waiting for them to call me to set up that appointment, to schedule that surgery, essentially. I have to have what's called a LEAP procedure, like a LEAP surgery. So basically, and again, trigger warning, like if you don't want to hear this, that's fine. But they essentially go in and they scrape off the outer layer of your cervix, which is like, she said for mine, it's going to be like 1/4 of a millimeter that she has to scrape off. And then she will go in and cauterize it so that it doesn't bleed or anything. And that will essentially cure all of that and get rid of any of the precancerous cells that are there. I'm having to wait for them to get a hold of me to schedule it because she wanted to reach out to the OR that's down there because she wants me to be fully asleep and like put under for this procedure, just so that it's easier for her to get in, get it done, and not have to worry about anything, which is fine. Like, I totally get that. The downside to that is I am 35 and have never had a surgery before. I've never been put to sleep. I obviously had like dental work done when I was a kid, and like, you know, like they give you like the laughing gas and like the numbing shots, so like you're like floating but you're not like asleep, you know, like you're aware of everything that's going on but you're just like out of it. So she was like, well, we want you to be completely out for this so that it's easier for us to like go in, get everything that we need out of there to burn it off and everything so that you won't get cervical cancer. Which, I mean, obviously it's not like 100%, like I won't ever get it. Like, at some point down the road I might, you don't know. But yeah, so I am freaking out. I'm freaking out and not freaking out at the same time. I don't know, like it's weird. I'm also like more nervous about the whole like being put to sleep than I am the surgery itself, which is also weird, and that may change whenever it gets scheduled and it gets here. I don't know, but right now, like, the actual being put to sleep is what's freaking me out the most. I don't know why, but it is. I don't know. I'm just nervous all around. I'm trying so hard not to like be emotional, but because I don't want to cry on the internet, obviously. But so I'm waiting to hear from that to get that scheduled. But what was I gonna say? The doctor that she's she's a little bit different, but she's not like bad. She's not the one that I saw down there before, and that's fine. All of these ladies have been great. But yeah, so I will be going to do that. They told me that if I don't hear from them by Tuesday, that I need to call up there because I need to have this done as soon as possible so that it doesn't get any worse. And like over the last 2 weeks since I had the colposcopy done, like I can just tell that something's not right. And I mean, like, we know our bodies. Like, we know that if like, you can tell when something's off, you know? And I've just kind of felt like something's been weird since then. I've had, like, I started the birth control, obviously. And so, like, and my periods normally are, like, very heavy, very on time. Tons of cramps. It feels like a murder scene most of the time. Just TMI, but I don't care right now. So, like, normally it's really bad. After the colposcopy, like, I had some pain, obviously, and I was kind of spotting from that. I will say I passed some very odd clots during that, like 2 or 3 times, I think. But like my period was supposed to come like 2 days after that procedure, and like I bled for most of that following week, but it was like barely anything. Like not nearly what my period normally is. So like I don't know if that's the birth control helping because it's a higher dose of hormones. I don't know, but and the birth control that she gave me, I can take to where I won't have a period since my periods are as bad as they are. Which I just started the second pack of that Wednesday, I think it was. So that should essentially skip my next coming period, but I forgot what I was gonna say. But oh yeah. But like you just know that like when something's off, and like I've still been having some cramps like here and there, not like bad, but just like random here and there. And I've not really been spotting necessarily, but like just a little bit, not anything bad. But like something that I obviously know is not normal for me. I don't ever spot between periods or anything. I never have. So like obviously I know that like something's up. And I don't know, like it just feels different. And I don't know how to explain that, but I can just tell that like something's not right. But I should be going in for that. If not this week, it will be next week. I'm just waiting on them to tell me when. I will be kind of out of commission for like 3 days after the procedure, so I'll have to be like laid up in bed to recover. Full recovery is like 4 to 6 weeks. So like during that time I can't do any like heavy lifting or like overexert myself or anything, obviously. But after 3 days, like I can come back to work. Like I know I work from home, but I sit here in this chair all day. And like obviously after something like that, like I can't just be sitting here, like I need to be laid down. So for those first like 3 days after, I'll be laid up in bed, probably watching Netflix and trying to sleep. So yeah. But after like 4 or 5 days, I'll be able to like drive again and stuff. I just have to be careful how much I do for like a month or so after that, which is fine. But yeah, so that's essentially my health update. moment. I don't know. Like, to sit here and just talk about it, like, I'm not that nervous, and that's where it's weird. Like, I get more nervous when I'm, like, laying in bed about to go to sleep, because, like, obviously your mind wanders when you're about to go to sleep. And I'm like, what if I can't go to sleep when they start all of this? Or, like, how am I gonna feel when I wake back up? Like, because I'm somebody that doesn't like to throw up, so I'm like, if I have to throw up after, like, dumb thing to be worrying about, I know, but that's just how my brain works. And I also have a med card. Say what you want about that, but it's legal in my state, and it is something that helps me because I have severe insomnia, and that is the only thing that helps me sleep. I am not a smoker at all. I only take gummies. Hold on. But yeah, like, I don't smoke. I just take gummies, and I think it's like 40 milligrams a night to sleep, and I have for the last 6 years. Well, 5.5 years, I guess, technically. So I have to talk to them about that, because I know that, like, that can mess with, like, the anesthesia and stuff. Sometimes they can have to up it. So, like, that freaks me out. I'm just an anxious person anyways. I'm so sorry for the train in the back. That's the second train that's come through while I've been trying to film. But, like, I don't know, I'm just an anxious person anyway, and having to do all of this is not helping. But I would rather it be something simple like this versus it being full-blown cancer, to where, like, treatment and, like, all of that kind of stuff. So, and, like, that's also something that, like, kind of freaked me out, because, like, my mom's side, my Nana on that side, and my aunt, so, like, my mom's mom and my mom's sister. I'm so sorry about the train if it's that loud. It feels loud to me, but I don't know if it's that loud to you. And I'm sorry that I'm, like, sniffling. I'm trying so hard to, like, get my shit together. But, like, that kind of stuff freaks me out. And, like, I got approved for an early mammogram because of, like, the family history and stuff. So, like, that I also have to get done. But that's been put on the back burner to take care of all of this right now, because this is, like, a more pressing matter. Because it needs to be taken care of as soon as possible. So, yeah. But then there's also ovarian cancer on my mom's side. That's actually what my mom's mom, my Nana, passed away from, was ovarian cancer. And there's like instances where breast cancer and ovarian cancer and stuff can be linked. And so, like, anytime, because, like, I'm the only one in my family that has had, like, issues with that area. Because, like I said, I had to have the endometrial biopsy in 2020, and now I'm having to do this. And so, like, and I already have, like, I'm already having fertility issues. Like, I'm essentially completely infertile, which is fine. Personally, I don't really want kids of my own. That's fine. I've come to that conclusion over the years that that's just not for me. If I find somebody that has kids, not a problem, but I don't want any of my own. So yeah, like, just kind of freaking out about all of that kind of stuff, but I am thankful that it wasn't any worse. And my best friend also had the same procedure done back in, God, it's been like 13, maybe 15 years, and she hasn't had a problem since. And she is somebody that used to have to go and have all of her stuff scraped, like, every year since she was 16. And since she had this procedure done, she hasn't had any problems. So, like, that makes me feel a little better also. But yeah, so, but that is my health update. I'm sorry that said, it was kind of rambly and like all over the place. My mind has been everywhere for the last 2 weeks. Literally since I had to have that colposcopy done, like, I've not been all here. So, and I know, like, ASMR Jade was one of the first, I say one of the first, like, obviously my, like, my immediate family and, like my best friend and stuff here, like, I told them before I told anybody, but, like, ASMR Jade, like, I've watched her channel, since the beginning. I've been there for every single one of her health updates. We've reached out to each other over social media and checked in on each other over the years. So she was somebody that I messaged after I found out and was like, hey, like, you know, I've been there for all of your health updates. Like, I check in on your health all the time. I was like, I felt like this was something I needed to tell you. And so she's been great. She's checked up on me a few times. I will be letting her know whenever my surgery is scheduled. And I will say, like, that's one thing that I love about the ASMR community. Like, I've not met a creator that's like rude or not like personable, or, you know what I mean? Like, we're all human. And like, but like, the ASMR community was very welcoming whenever I started my channel. Like, I know I don't have that many followers, but like, there's several channels that I have like sent messages to or have like talked to outside of just like, sorry about my cat. He's wanting inside the office and I won't let him in. But like, I've talked to like Maeve ASMR. I've talked to Didos outside of videos and stuff. So like, the ASMR community is wonderful. If you're ever thinking about starting a channel, do it. It's a wonderful community. Everybody's so nice. Everybody's so inclusive. Highly recommend. But okay, but I've been rambling for almost like 23 minutes, and that's wild. I'm not that much of a... That's a lie. I was gonna say I'm not that much of a rambler. That's a lie. But okay, but I'm gonna end this video here because I could just keep on rambling about nothing. Because like I said, I've been freaking out and I'm just everywhere right now. But yeah, so that's my health update. I'm gonna take this back off for a minute. I will try to post an update after surgery and everything and let you guys know how I am. Like I said, I don't know when I'll feel okay enough to film a video again. That's why I already pre-filmed one. And yeah, just kind of go from there, I guess. My work has been wonderful. I texted my supervisor after I found out I had to have surgery, and she said just whenever I find out to put the days in that I need, and just be sure that I get like a work release so that like the field managers and stuff can have that in case anybody says anything. I haven't told my unit at work yet. I plan to tell them whenever I find out like the actual date. Which I love my unit. My unit's wonderful. It's, how many of us is there? Me. There's 7 of us. There's about to only be 6 of us because the only guy on my unit is actually retiring at the end of this month. But my unit is super great. I adore every single one of them. But yeah, so that's my health update. I will try to keep you all posted on what happens and how I'm feeling and everything and how it goes. But I'm gonna get off the internet before I actually start crying, so thank you guys for being here. Thank you all for watching if you made it this far.